Anthony Edwards camp, man, is crazy. This dude, 23 years old, took the Timberwolves to the Western Conference Finals, the tougher conference in the NBA. He's facing great teams, great basketball teams. Took his team to the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. I know he lost in 5 games both times, but it's kind of that, situation where you overachieve, and then once you get to against a team that's better, a team that, figures you out, it doesn't go your way, and they humble you. So I wouldn't look at it as Anthony Edwards coming up short. Anthony Edwards needs to rise to the occasion. I'm not somebody saying Anthony Edwards is the next Michael Jordan. I'm not out here saying he's the best player in the NBA. I'm not out here, claiming things that aren't true. I, was excited for him. I wanted him to be the face of the league, but just people that are just excited to tear him down after people were bringing him up, that's just not what I'm doing. He has won 21 playoff games before turning 24 behind Tatum, KD, and LeBron. It's just very rare for a young star to win like this. Very rare for a young star to win to this level without his game being fully mature, That's something I've heard a lot of people say. Anthony Edwards isn't mature yet. Anthony Edwards isn't, a mature basketball player yet. But he's succeeding to levels other stars haven't at this age, which is crazy. So that shows you how good he really can be when he puts it all together. So I don't put too much blame on Anthony Edwards for not, rising, for, losing to the Thunder, a really good basketball team, getting outplayed by a better player in SGA. I mean, you look at, the circumstances. This series, the whistle was a little more towards OKC, and, his second best option, Julius Randle, had a couple pedestrian performances. He's facing triple teams, double teams as soon as he gets the ball, and that comes into, being a little more of a mature player and stuff. But, I understand. Anthony Edwards still has achieved so much. He still have done so much. And this Timberwolves team, nobody expected them to be in the Western Conference Finals. Not a lot of people, I thought they were going to beat the Lakers, but not a lot of people thought they were going to get out of that first round matchup. So this was a successful season for Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves. And one thing about Anthony Edwards, after he loses in the Western Conference Finals, he comes back an even better player. Last season, he struggled against the Dallas Mavericks after that playoff series. After the Mavericks went to the finals, he came back. He led the NBA and made 3-pointers, and he shot 40% from 3 this season. Averaged 27.6 points per game this year, so he just took it to another level as a 3-point shooter and as an offensive scorer. All he really needs to do now is get that mid-range game. Once he gets the mid-range game, the NBA is in trouble, and he just needs to look at how SGA was able to, find the spots and just be so dangerous with his mid-range game. Look at how he plays, look at how he dissects defenses, and just implement that a little bit in his game. He will be a problem. He would average 30 points per game. He would win MVP, and he would take that leap that we saw SGA take a couple years ago. But it's just, you can't help but be excited about Ant and his future and this Timberwolves team. I know people want to say, you never know if you're going to get back to the Western Conference Finals or all that. You never know how many opportunities you're going to get. But with a player like 23, the excitement should be through the roof with how he's able to get you there back-to-back seasons. He's able to get better and better. And I think we all know he's going to come back next season even better. But as it goes for the Timberwolves, this offseason is going to be really interesting for them. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to be a free agent. Julius Randle's coming up on his player option. He's probably going to be a free agent. Naz Reid as well has a player option. So they have to make some decisions. Rudy Gobert is getting a bag, and this is somebody I would trade. So they have a lot of things they could do. And reports are coming out, they've been out that, Kevin Durant to the Timberwolves, this is something that might happen. This is a scenario that even during the trade deadline, the Minnesota Timberwolves were trying to pry him from the Phoenix Suns. A deal fell through, but Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant, that relationship, those two guys, I think it's just peak cinema if those two guys can come together and end up, joining forces and play in Minnesota. You look at Kevin Durant, what he can do for Anthony Edwards too. He's the guy that could help him take his game to the next level in terms of, being a better mid-range shooter and developing more of a dangerous offensive bag. Anthony Edwards can get that from playing with Kevin Durant. OKC won't be able to double team and triple team Anthony Edwards if he has Kevin Durant. Julius Randle had a phenomenal postseason. I thought he was great all the way until OKC. If the playoffs ended for Julius Randle before the OKC series, this is a guy that's getting a bag this offseason. This is a guy, even the Timberwolves are like, we should resign. We should keep him in the building. We should keep him in Minnesota. He was just playing that well. Dominated Draymond Green in the Warriors series, and he was a problem against the Lakers. But against OKC, this was a team that matched his physicality. This was a team that was able to, minimize his success. Alex Caruso was on him. The Thunder just had a lot of defensive wings that they could throw at Randle and match, his physicality, like I said. So we saw him be ineffective. That won't happen with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant would do what Julius Randle did times 10. He's 37 years old, but he's still a guy that, averaged 26 a game last season, shot 43% from three, 50% from the field. So this is an elite shooter. This is an elite shot creator. This is a guy that is a better team defender than Karl-Anthony Towns. This is a guy that would be a huge upgrade. This is the guy that the Timberwolves need to add to help them get to the next level, to help them win a finals, to help Anthony Edwards get to the next level. This is the move they need to make. You would have 2 top 10 players in the NBA. That's the key to success. And I don't think this move would cripple them too much. I think you trade Julius Randle, DiVincenzo to the Suns, maybe throw a Luka Garza in there. I personally wouldn't want to give up Rob Dillingham. Terrence Shannon Jr. is an untouchable for me. But if you have to give up Rob Dillingham in this deal to get Kevin Durant, I'm okay with it. I would do it. Personally, I would do it. I know Kevin Durant, like I said, is 37 years old, but you can get a chip. And his game is aging gracefully. Kevin Durant could probably play till 40. Anthony Edwards is showing you once he's clicking, once the team's clicking, this is a dangerous team in the playoffs. They could beat anybody. So personally, if I'm the Timberwolves, I'm bringing back Naz Reid. I'm making sure he's in the building. Terrence Shannon Jr. is an untouchable. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I'd let him walk. He was very inconsistent in this playoffs. He's a good player, but too inconsistent for my liking. Terrence Shannon Jr. I think will replace all the things he does well, and that's a guy that has more promise. It's a cheaper deal. It's a rinse and repeat kind of thing. I would keep Mike Conley as that veteran. Bring in Kevin Durant via trade. Julius Randle, DiVincenzo. Jaden McDaniels, I would hold on to him. I want to see him grow his offensive game because we see him in the playoffs. He's a great offensive player. He rises to the moment. I can trust him, and he's a great defender. I would probably look to replacing Rudy Gobert. I think you could find a cheaper player and give you what he gives you defensively to some capacity, but more offensive production because Rudy Gobert is one of the worst offensive players in the NBA. The Timberwolves need to find a way to get him off the books, to get him out of Minnesota. Even in the playoffs too, time and time again, he's somebody that you kind of have to question if you got to bench him, if he's playable for this series too. But at peak, in great moments, he's great for the Minnesota Timberwolves defensively. He's great in a Denver series. So I think that's somebody I would consider moving on from. And if you can find a trade partner for him, if you can move on from him, then that also clears up some money and that clears up more flexibility for a Kevin Durant trade. Kevin Durant reportedly is going to be traded before the NBA draft, so hopefully Minnesota can get things working. I would then hope to be looking at, a team that has Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, Mike Conley, Terrence Shannon Jr., hopefully Rob Dillingham still, and Kevin Durant. And the center replacement for Rudy Gobert kind of looks like the center from Toronto. A Mitchell Robinson too would be nice. I don't know if Minnesota and New York would do another deal together, but that's an ideal guy that you could bring into the fold of things. Naz Reid could be that center that, provides you that offensive spark. Andre Drummond would even be a replacement for Rudy Gobert. There are some options out there available. The center's, kind of bleak. Brook Lopez, he's 37 years old. Still a good defensive presence. Can stretch the floor. Can give you more offensive production than Rudy Gobert could. And cheaper. $10 million cheaper. So there are options for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think some scoring too. Maybe a Tim Hardaway, some three-point shooting off the bench. Cheap options, a Luke Kennard. Bobby Portis wouldn't be terrible either. Bobby Portis fits the mold of the Minnesota Timberwolves, so add him with Naz Reid. So yeah, that's what I would look towards. I would trade for Kevin Durant. That's exactly what they need to do. I don't think Giannis is as realistic, but trade for Kevin Durant. Get him and Anthony Edwards together. Replace Rudy Gobert. Keep Terrence Shannon Jr., give him more minutes. Give Rob Dillingham more minutes if you keep him and are able to keep him. And just, keep this current nucleus. Keep the culture, keep the mentality that Timberwolves have, and just focus on putting Anthony Edwards in the best position to succeed. That's what the Timberwolves should do. Let me know down below in the comments what you think the Timberwolves should do this offseason and your predictions. Some people thought the NFC North was going to be the worst division in football this season. They thought it was going to be as bad as the NFC South.